hit the subscribe button. Currently only 1.7% of my viewers are subscribe. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'll release an exclusive special video just for you.
As the sun dipped below the horizon, the outback fell silent, its usual symphony of nocturnal sounds stifled by an eerie hum. Jack Mitchell stood at the edge of the vast plain, his eyes fixed on the unnatural disturbance in the sky. An alien ship, larger than anything he had ever imagined, hovered ominously, casting an unearthly glow on the rugged landscape. "Jack, do you see that?" Sarah's voice trembled slightly as she joined him, her eyes wide with a mix of awe and fear. "Yeah, I see it," Jack replied, his tone steady despite the adrenaline coursing through his veins. "And I don't like it one bit." As the ship descended, its metallic surface gleamed under the setting sun, and a ramp extended from its belly. Alien figures emerged, their silhouettes tall and menacing. Jack instinctively clenched his fists, readying himself for whatever might come. The townspeople gathered, whispering anxiously as the aliens approached. Leading them was Valor, an imposing figure whose disdain for the humans was evident in his sneer. "People of Earth," Valor's voice boomed, amplified by unseen devices, "I am Valor of the Asleal Empire. Your planet and its resources now belong to us. Resistance is futile." A murmur of fear rippled through the crowd, but Jack's eyes narrowed with determination. He stepped forward, drawing the attention of both humans and aliens. "And if we don't comply?" Jack's question hung in the air, a challenge laced with defiance. Valor's sneer deepened. "Your primitive weapons are no match for our advanced technology. Submit, or face annihilation." The following days were a blur of chaos and fear. The Asleal set up bases, their ships crisscrossing the sky as they began to strip the land of its resources. Jack, however, was not one to cower. He gathered a small group of resistance fighters, including Sarah, whose engineering skills were unmatched, and Dr. Ahmed, a physicist with a mind as sharp as a scalpel. In a hidden bunker deep within the outback, the group convened. Maps and blueprints were spread across a makeshift table, lit by the harsh glow of a single lamp. "We need a plan," Jack said, breaking the tense silence. "We can't just sit here and watch them take everything." Sarah nodded, her eyes bright with determination. "I've been working on something. If we can hijack one of their drones, I think I can reverse engineer their tech." Dr. Ahmed, always the voice of reason, added, "We need to understand their weaknesses. Every technology has one. Their first breakthrough came sooner than expected. Using old radio equipment, they intercepted an Asleal communication, discovering a vulnerability in their drone's navigation system. It was a small crack in the armor, but it was enough. One moonless night, the team executed their plan. Jack and Sarah, clad in dark clothing, slipped through the shadows to an alien patrol zone. They set a trap, and within minutes, a drone was ensnared in their electromagnetic net. Sarah worked quickly, dismantling it with precision and care, while Jack kept watch, his senses on high alert. "Got it," Sarah whispered, holding up a crucial component. "Let's get back to the bunker." In the days that followed, the resistance grew stronger. Sarah's ingenuity led to the creation of EMP devices capable of disabling Asleal technology, while Dr. Ahmed's theories on energy manipulation became practical strategies for their assaults. But Jack knew they needed more than just gadgets and plans. They needed unity and resolve. He spent hours rallying the townspeople, instilling in them the spirit of defiance and the will to fight. One evening, as the sun cast long shadows across the outback, Jack addressed a gathering of the resistance. "We fight not just for ourselves, but for our land, our families, and our future. The Asleal may have superior technology, but they underestimate the power of human resilience and ingenuity." His words ignited a spark in the crowd. They were ready. The night of the first strike arrived. The team moved with calculated precision, positioning the EMPs around the main Asleal base. Jack's heart pounded in his chest as he signaled the countdown. 3, 2, 1, now. A series of explosions ripped through the night, followed by a deafening silence. The alien ships faltered, their lights flickering before they plummeted to the ground. Cheers erupted from the resistance fighters, but Jack remained focused. "This is just the beginning," he said, gripping his weapon. "We won't stop until they're gone for good." As dawn broke, the outback was a battlefield, littered with the remnants of alien technology and the signs of human tenacity. Jack stood at the forefront, ready to lead his people to victory, no matter the cost. The fight for Earth had only just begun. "If we don't act now, we'll lose everything," Jack's voice echoed through the underground bunker, a sense of urgency palpable in every word. The makeshift headquarters buzzed with activity as the resistance fighters prepared for their next move. Sarah stood at a workbench, surrounded by disassembled alien technology, her hands deftly manipulating wires and circuits. "I've almost got this EMP device ready," she said, her brow furrowed in concentration. "But we need to figure out how to deploy it without getting caught." Jack nodded, his mind racing. "Dr. Ahmed, any insights?" Dr. Ahmed, deep in thought, adjusted his glasses and looked up from his notes. "We need to find a way to disable their sensors temporarily. If we can create a distraction large enough, we might have a chance to plant the EMPs undetected." The room fell silent as the gravity of their mission sank in. The Asliel were relentless, their advanced technology a constant threat. But Jack's determination was unwavering. "All right, let's split up the tasks. Sarah, you keep working on the EMP, Ahmed, see if you can figure out a way to disrupt their sensors. I'll coordinate with the rest of the team." The next day, Jack gathered his core group in a secluded corner of the bunker. "We need a distraction," he began, scanning their faces for signs of fear or hesitation. Instead, he found resolve and a shared sense of purpose. Mike, a burly mechanic with a talent for explosives, stepped forward. "I can rig up a few devices to go off simultaneously. It won't be pretty, but it should be loud enough to get their attention." "Good," Jack replied. "We'll need to synchronize everything perfectly. Timing is crucial." Sarah entered the room, holding up a compact device. "The EMP is ready. It's small, but it packs a punch. We need to get it close to their main communication hub for maximum impact." Dr. Ahmed nodded in agreement. "And I've developed a signal jammer that should buy us a few precious minutes." Jack couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. His team was resourceful and brave, each member contributing their unique skills to the cause. "All right, let's do this." As night fell, the resistance moved into position. The air was thick with tension, the quiet hum of anticipation almost deafening. Jack and Sarah crept through the shadows, the EMP device secured in Jack's pack. Nearby, Mike and his team prepared their explosives, their movements precise and practiced. "Remember," Jack whispered into his comm, "we go on my signal." Minutes felt like hours as they waited, every second stretching taut with anxiety. Finally, Jack's voice broke the silence. "Now." Explosions erupted in the distance, shaking the ground and illuminating the night sky. The Asliel responded instantly, their attention diverted to the chaos. Jack and Sarah seized the opportunity, sprinting toward the alien base. They reached the perimeter, and Sarah quickly set up the EMP device. "This should do it," she murmured, her fingers flying over the controls. "Just need a few more seconds." Suddenly, the ground shook violently, and an alien patrol appeared, their weapons drawn. "Hurry, Sarah!" Jack urged, his eyes scanning for cover. "Almost there," she replied, her voice steady despite the rising danger. With a final click, the EMP activated. A low hum built to a crescendo, then a blinding flash enveloped the area. The Asliel soldiers collapsed, their technology rendered useless by the pulse. "Let's move!" Jack shouted, grabbing Sarah's arm and pulling her toward safety. Back at the bunker, the mood was jubilant. The EMP had worked, crippling the Asleal's communication network and giving humanity a much-needed advantage. Jack looked around at his team, their faces alight with hope and determination. "Tonight, we showed them what we're capable of," he said, his voice carrying a newfound confidence. "But this is just the beginning. We need to stay vigilant and keep pushing forward." Sarah smiled, her eyes shining. "We've got a long road ahead, but I believe we can win this." Dr. Ahmed added, "With every step we take, we're closer to reclaiming our world." As the group dispersed to rest and regroup, Jack couldn't shake the feeling of impending danger. The Asleal would not take this defeat lightly. He knew their response would be swift and brutal. He approached Sarah and Dr. Ahmed, who were deep in conversation. "We need to be ready for their retaliation. Any ideas on how we can fortify our defenses?" Sarah glanced at Ahmed, then back at Jack. "We've been working on a few ideas. It's risky, but it might just give us the edge we need." Jack nodded, determination hardening his features. "Whatever it takes. We fight for our future, and we won't back down." The resistance had taken a bold step forward, but the war was far from over. With the Asleal regrouping, Jack knew the battle for Earth's survival had only just begun. He steeled himself for the challenges ahead, resolved to lead his people to victory, no matter the cost. The bunker was alive with a frenetic energy. Jack surveyed the scene, a mixture of relief and trepidation washing over him. The successful EMP strike had given them a brief respite, but he knew the Asleal's retaliation would be swift and merciless. His mind raced as he contemplated their next move. "We need to hit them harder," Jack declared, gathering his core team around the central table, cluttered with maps and blueprints. The EMP strike was just the beginning. If we can disrupt their main power source, we can cripple their entire operation. Sarah leaned in, her eyes sharp with determination. "I've been analyzing the data from the EMP strike. There's a central power hub located in their primary base. If we can take it out, we'll have a significant advantage." Dr. Ahmed, always the voice of logic, interjected. "It's heavily guarded. We can't just walk in there. We need a distraction even bigger than the last one." Jack nodded, his expression resolute. "Mike, can you rig up something that will draw their forces away from the hub?" Mike, ever the pragmatic mechanic, scratched his chin thoughtfully. "I can set up a series of controlled explosions. It'll look like an all-out assault. That should buy us enough time." That night, the team gathered their gear and prepared for the mission. The tension was palpable, the air thick with anticipation. Jack moved among his team, offering words of encouragement and checking the readiness of their equipment. As they approached the alien base, the silence was almost oppressive. Jack signaled for his team to spread out and take their positions. Mike and his demolition team moved silently through the shadows, setting charges in strategic locations. Sarah and Dr. Ahmed huddled close, whispering final adjustments to their plan. "We've only got one shot at this," Sarah murmured, her fingers deftly working on the remote detonator. "Timing is everything." Jack's voice crackled over the comm, "Everyone in position." A chorus of affirmatives responded. Jack took a deep breath. "On my mark. 3, 2, 1, now." Explosions rocked the night, their thunderous echoes reverberating through the valley. Alien soldiers scrambled in confusion, their attention diverted by the sudden assault. Jack and his team sprinted towards the power hub, moving with calculated precision. The entrance to the power hub was heavily fortified, but the chaos outside provided the perfect cover. Sarah hacked the security system, her fingers flying over the keyboard. "I'm in. Go, go, go." Inside, the hum of machinery in the sterile, blue glow of alien technology created an otherworldly atmosphere. Jack led the way, his senses heightened, every shadow a potential threat. They moved quickly, following the schematic Sarah had mapped out. They reached the central control room, a sprawling chamber filled with pulsating energy conduits and massive control panels. Dr. Ahmed immediately set to work, his analytical mind deciphering the alien interface with astonishing speed. "We need to overload the main reactor," Dr. Ahmed said, his voice calm and focused. "It's the only way to ensure they can't recover quickly." Sarah nodded, already connecting wires and setting charges. "This should create a chain reaction. But we need to be out of here before it goes off." Jack's eyes scanned the room, ensuring they weren't being watched. "Let's move, people. We've got a narrow window." As they worked, the hum of alien technology grew louder, almost as if the base itself was aware of their sabotage. Jack's comm buzzed with urgent messages from the rest of the team. "We've got company. Alien reinforcements inbound." Jack's heart pounded. "We're almost done. Hold them off as long as you can." With a final click, Sarah armed the last charge. "It's set. We've got 2 minutes before it blows." They bolted from the control room, racing through the corridors as alarms blared and alien soldiers swarmed the base. The ground trembled beneath their feet as the initial charges detonated, sending shockwaves through the structure. Jack's comm crackled. "We're pinned down. Need backup." Jack skidded to a halt, his mind racing. "We can't leave them behind," he said, turning to Sarah and Dr. Ahmed. "You two get to the extraction point. I'll get our people." Sarah grabbed his arm, her eyes fierce. "We're in this together, Jack. No one gets left behind." They doubled back, moving towards the sounds of gunfire and explosions. The sight that greeted them was chaotic, resistance fighters exchanging fire with alien soldiers, the air thick with smoke and the acrid scent of burning metal. Jack's voice was a rallying cry. "Fall back. Fall back to the extraction point." The team regrouped, their movements coordinated and disciplined despite the chaos. Together, they fought their way out, every step a battle for survival. As they reached the extraction point, the ground erupted behind them, a massive explosion consuming the alien base in a blinding flash of light. The force of the blast knocked them off their feet, the shockwave rolling over them like a tidal wave. Jack pulled himself up, coughing through the dust and debris. He looked around, counting heads and checking for injuries. "Is everyone all right?" Sarah, covered in soot but grinning, gave him a thumbs up. "We did it. They're crippled." Dr. Ahmed, adjusting his glasses, nodded. "This will buy us some time. But they'll be back." Jack's jaw set in grim determination. "Then we'll be ready. This is our land, and we're not giving up." The team regrouped, their victory a beacon of hope amidst the darkness. The fight was far from over, but for the first time, they had the upper hand. Jack knew the road ahead would be perilous, but with allies like these, he was ready for whatever came next. The dawn was unnaturally still, the air heavy with anticipation. Jack stood at the edge of the encampment, scanning the horizon. The successful strike on the Asleal's power hub had bought them time, but he knew the aliens would regroup. They always did. The final battle loomed on the horizon like an unspoken promise. "We need to be ready for anything," Jack murmured to Sarah, who stood beside him, her face set in a mask of determination. "We've fortified our defenses as much as we can," she replied, her voice steady. "But if they hit us with everything they've got, it's going to be a hell of a fight." Jack nodded, appreciating her candor. "Let's make sure everyone knows what's at stake." He moved through the camp, offering words of encouragement and final instructions. Dr. Ahmed was in the makeshift lab, fine-tuning the signal jammer that had become their lifeline. "How's it looking, Ahmed?" "Good to go," the physicist replied, not looking up from his work. "This should disrupt their communications long enough for us to mount a counteroffensive." Jack clapped him on the shoulder. "Great work. We're going to need every advantage we can get." As the first light of day broke, a distant rumble signaled the approach of the Asliel forces. Jack's heart pounded in his chest. He took a deep breath, calming his nerves. Positions, everyone. The resistance fighters took their places, weapons ready, eyes trained on the approaching threat. Jack stood at the forefront, a symbol of resilience and leadership. The Asliel army emerged over the ridge, their formation precise and intimidating. Valor, the alien commander, stepped forward, his eyes burning with fury. Humans, your defiance ends today. Jack stepped forward, meeting Valor's gaze with unwavering resolve. This is our home, and we're not backing down. The battlefield erupted in chaos. The clash of weapons, the roar of explosions, and the cries of combatants filled the air. Jack moved with calculated precision, directing his forces and engaging the enemy with fierce determination. The ground shook as the two sides collided, a violent symphony of struggle and resistance. Sarah was a whirlwind of activity, her engineering prowess turning the tide in their favor. She coordinated the deployment of the signal jammer, its pulse sending waves of confusion through the Asliel ranks. Dr. Ahmed provided crucial support, his scientific acumen transforming seemingly hopeless situations into opportunities for victory. Amidst the chaos, Jack spotted Valor cutting a path through his fighters, heading straight for the signal jammer. Jack's blood ran cold. If the device was destroyed, their chances of victory would plummet. Sarah, Ahmed, cover me. Jack shouted, charging towards Valor. His path was fraught with danger, but his focus was unwavering. Valor's eyes locked onto Jack as he approached. You dare challenge me, human? Jack met his challenge with a fierce determination. For our future, and for our freedom. The two clashed, the battle around them fading into the background. Valor's strength was immense, his blows powerful and precise. But Jack's resolve was unyielding, his movements driven by a fierce determination to protect his people. Sarah and Dr. Ahmed worked frantically to keep the signal jammer operational, their efforts crucial to maintaining the upper hand. We've got to hold it together. Sarah shouted, her hands a blur of activity. Jack's fight with Valor reached a fever pitch. The alien commander's arrogance had blinded him to the resourcefulness of his opponent. With a final, desperate surge, Jack delivered a decisive blow, disabling Valor's weapon and sending him sprawling. This isn't over, Valor hissed, his eyes burning with hatred. It is for you, Jack replied, his voice steely. He turned to see Sarah and Dr. Ahmed still holding the line, their faces grim but determined. The tide of battle shifted. The Asliel, disoriented by the signal jammer and the ferocity of the human resistance, began to falter. Jack rallied his forces, pushing the advantage. The ground shook with the force of their assault, the air thick with the scent of victory. As the last of the Asliel forces retreated, a cheer rose from the human fighters. The battle was won, but the cost had been high. Jack surveyed the battlefield, his heart heavy with the loss of comrades and friends. But amidst the sorrow, there was a burgeoning sense of hope. Sarah approached, her face streaked with grime but lit by a triumphant smile. We did it, Jack. We actually did it. Jack nodded, his expression softening. This is just the beginning. We've shown them what we're capable of. Now, we rebuild. Stronger, together. Dr. Ahmed joined them, a rare smile on his face. We've proven that we can stand against even the most formidable of foes. This victory is for everyone who believed in our cause. As the sun set on the battlefield, casting long shadows over the weary fighters, Jack felt a deep sense of pride. They had faced the impossible and emerged victorious. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear, humanity's spirit was unbreakable. The dawn of victory marked the beginning of a new era, one forged in the crucible of battle and tempered by the resilience of the human spirit. Together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, united and unyielding.